Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. Have your say. And I am joined all the way from the US of A by Lucas. Lucas, how are you doing, sir?
I'm currently extremely hungover right now. I had a mad. My birthday's today, but I celebrated yesterday. It was just a
Happy
mad.
birthday, Lucas.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It was just a mad day. West Ham tried to ruin my birthday weekend. Declan Rice was the only one that seemed to care about my birthday weekend, so thank you
Mm,
to him. But we're okay. I mean, still pretty upset about yesterday. It's one of those rare, like, I wasn't even happy that we won. I was
mm.
just more like disappointed and just I don't know.
Yeah.
It was weird. Weird.
Well, if you see my afterthought, you know how I feel, and you see my celebration on social media.
Yeah,
Uh,
literally I did the same exact thing. I was watching with my mom
yeah.
downstairs and my dad was in the other room. All he was pissed. I yelled so loud. I was like, "Come the fuck on!" And we live like pretty close to our neighbors, and
Yeah.
I s- I howled so loud they probably heard me all the way
Yeah.
down the street.
I hear you, mate. Um, Listen, anyone who's in the chat tonight, you're welcome to come on. The link is in the chat. Click on the StreamYard link. Come on, speak to me and Lucas. Tell us your thoughts, basically. But if you come on and act like a mug, you get blocked, get deleted, and there's no more. I want fans on to talk about West Ham and what's going right and wrong at West Ham. For me, Lucas, as you see in my afterthought, I was very angry yesterday. Today, I'm on reflection. I've moved past it. I'm looking forward to Watford on Tuesday night, but there is questions that need to be asked, and it's like papering over the cracks as per usual at West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of over it, but not really. It's paper over the cracks. That's
Mm.
really what it is. Like yesterday was. I mean, let's be quite honest. That would have been our worst loss in club history for sure.
It would have been I think it would have been the biggest shock in FA Cup history, you know.
Because sixth tier of English football, that's below National League, right?
That's below National League. Yeah, what that is like semi-professional as good as.
Yeah, I just don't get it. And the team that we put out a strong team, honestly. Like for me, I know we only have three center backs, but when I see Kurt Zuma like starting in this, that's how
Mm,
I know like okay, we're really going for it. You know what I mean?
mm.
But my God, that was just absolutely fucking dreadful. There was only one player for me that really played well, and it was Rice. Everyone else was there's maybe one, two okay players like they might pass the test
Mm.
today, but the rest were absolutely shit.
Well, let me ask you this, right? I'm going to fire some names at you. I just want one worded answers, Lucas. This will be fun.
I love these.
Ariola,
Shaky.
Ben Johnson,
Shit.
Issa Diop,
Diabolical.
Flassage,
eh. Or average. Average.
mm. Zuma,
Underwhelming.
Alex Krell.
Disappointing.
Mm. Yeah, that is like I must admit some of the words you're saying. And the final one before I get to James's comment, Yarmolenko.
Wronging.
Mate, he is wrong, mate. Staying living, mate. Absolute staying living, that geezer.
I
Get
I
James'
was
comment.
I was talking to my mom and I tell her like the same
Mm.
thing that we all say, like if you throw a fucking yellow kit on this guy, he just becomes an absolute world beater. But
Yeah, but
he
I think he just
cannot
gets lucky though, Lucas. I think he gets lucky when he plays for Ukraine because Like he can do that stuff against Belarus, but he can't do it in the Prem.
This
He's
is my
just
thing. I don't think it's
mm,
luck. I think it's like that's how bad his mindset is. I think it's
yeah,
that bad.
mm,
Like, and I don't understand because he has. I don't want to say like he has qualities, but his
mm,
work rate is so bad, and his
yeah,
mentality's so bad. Like, what good are you?
yeah. I agree. James G says here, what do you think has happened to Diop lads? I remember he was absolute beast when he come tipped to be the next big thing out of France, and it seems like he's gone to shit. Um, for me,
Tough.
he's dropped off an edge of a cliff. I don't. The only way that Issa pulls this round is if he livens himself up and we go on to win something, and he helps us win something this year. I
Yeah,
think if I'm being honest, he's out the door in the summer.
maybe
Um,
a goal or something will
yeah,
can boost the confidence, but it's a tough question because there's there's not many players at the club that like I question their dedication or I
mm,
question their mindset. But like it's really tricky because I don't think Issa Diop has become complacent with where he's at in his career or like where he is at West Ham. I think he wants to be good, but
yeah.
like there's that's another this could be the answer. He's not good at the little things.
No, I'll be honest with you, mate. I think yesterday really proved a lot to me. I tried to back Issa Diop up, as you know, doing these stuff, doing American Hammers with you, everything. I've tried to back him up. Yesterday, he goes up for an header and he's scared to head the ball. And
Someone
that to
said
me,
he heads the ball like a ballerina.
yeah, Jazza said that. And it was shocking. It was truly, truly shocking from him yesterday. I'm not going to lie. And he was with Zuma. But,
Because this is the thing, like we can agree, and this happens in all sports. Like
yeah,
there are a bunch of players in sports. They're not as good as the other player, but because they try so hard and they do the little things so good, they
yeah,
ultimately are the better player than their I'll say compadre, their friend, their
yeah.
teammate. like Craig Dawson. When you put Craig Dawson and Issa Diop next to each other, Issa Diop has far more qualities than Craig Dawson could ever dream of possessing. But
Mm.
Craig Dawson, great header of the ball, no nonsense defender, gets rid of the ball when he has to.
He's your
Good,
typical,
good in
he's
the
your
air.
typical, yeah, he's your typical standard British defender.
Yeah, Issa
That's what
Diop,
you get.
he's a good passer. He's tall, fast, but
That's
again,
it.
he's missing those
I'll
core
tell you what he
qualities.
hasn't got. What he hasn't got any aggression, Issa.
That's another
He looks
thing.
like he's just too
He's
relaxed.
incredibly passive.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, like he just seems like he's so relaxed. Like everything's sort of like it's all calm and collective, sort
And
of
you
in
know,
it.
I saw someone made a good point the other day that I think could be true in my opinion. So and this is only for like let's say Alex Crow,
Yeah.
maybe Vlasic, uh, and maybe some other guys. I'm not incredibly sure, but like I don't think some people realize like outside of the country like
Mm,
the magic of the cup. Like they don't have that sense of urgency. They just think it's a regular cup because like obviously other countries have their own little cups and stuff, but their lower tier sides are like complete shit. As to
yeah.
here, like yes, Kidderminster, they're sixth tier, but like because they play so hard and it's the cup and they stick to what they're doing, that can really make it tough.
Mm,
As like
mm.
I feel like in other countries that do their domestic FA Cup, whatever you want to call it, like the players are that bad where like you really just got to show up and you can get the job done. But like not the FA Cup.
Yeah, but you know what it proved yesterday, though, Lucas? Right? It proved that how much deadwood we got at this club. But when you
a
really go
lot.
through, like when you go through the teams, like we got a lot of crap players in our ranks. Um, like we've got Alex Crowell, who yesterday, I think the fan base have sort of made their mind up with him. Not good enough,
I
right?
think.
Which is sad.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think it might be a little unfair just
Mm,
because he hasn't played in so long. He did go through the whole COVID thing where apparently he lost a bunch of weight, bunch of strength. He had to get that back. And I mean, this is his third start.
mm,
And let's be fair, his two other starts against City and Man United in the cup, he played well. But
yeah.
again, this is sixth tier Kidderminster Harriers Rovers. Like that it's and I don't want to diminish them, but like I get everyone's point where it's like if you can't do it against them, like how the hell can you have any consistency? I
Mm.
just think it might have I don't want to say a culture shock to him, but like it's just the magic of the cup. I'm not going to give up on him yet because I do think when you really look at it, a Noble Crow double pivot
It
that
didn't make no sense.
seems a little diabolical.
It did not make no sense, mate, to me. The two centre halves didn't make no sense, and the two midfielders didn't make no sense. But we'll get on to Moyes in a little while. Um, West Ham Irons 21 says this, yeah, James, a question for you. Would you play Elise and Zuma? Now, do you know what? If you'd have asked me that a month ago, I would have
At
said,
this
nah,
point,
don't do that. Silly. Now, I think I would. I think Elise, he's ready to learn. He would learn from Zuma, and I don't think he can do any worse than Issa Diop, in my opinion. I don't know what's going on with Issa. Really don't. I don't know whether he's had enough of England, had enough of the club. If he's bored, you know what I mean. I've got no clue. But for me, I would play Elise. It might be a mad suggestion. I think Dawson will be first choice. I think it'd be Dawson and Zuma. Um,
well, Elise should definitely be in contention for.
but the question is now, if Zuma goes down, like he did go down the other day, and he gets an injury, who do you go with? Do you go with Diop and Dawson? If you go like that, we're going to be basically West Ham would have to score at least 2 goals to win a game.
I think it's a win-win situation because
Mm,
one, there's no there's no way Elise in this current time can be as shit as Diop has been. But
yeah.
if he is, what's the harm? Because Issa Diop has been shit. So you might as well take the gamble on someone who's hungry, determined, young, and is like
Mm,
fighting for a place in the squad rather than and like I said, I don't know what's up with Issa Diop. I don't think it's a problem with his work ethic or his mental space, but like he's just he's just been so shit. Like it's a win-win for me. Like I would just take
mm,
the gamble.
mm. I would, to a point. I think if there was ever a situation where one of them got injured, I'd bring on at least before Diop. But it's just the old typical. Like, he hasn't played well for months, and he's. Someone said it earlier on. I think Mitchell said it on the player
All
ratings.
all season, I'm pretty
He's
sure.
getting. He's gradually getting worse. Like he's getting
Yeah.
worse and worse. Every game that goes past, he's doing more madder stuff than he done the previous game. Do you know what I mean? So
It just
it's
doesn't make sense, and I like we both said, like, I cannot figure out why he's going on such a downward spiral. Like, each game, uh, he's almost I tweeted this the other day, like, whenever Yarmolenko steps on the pitch, he just sets a new
mm,
standard low. Like, the bar just keeps getting lower for him. With Issa Diop, it's getting to that point where every single time he steps on the pitch, like, his levels just keep dropping, and it's now dangerous levels. I mean, it's
yeah.
been there, but like I think the panic button is like being just hammered now.
Mm.
Like this is not good.
Let's talk about Moyes, Mr. David Moyes, the Messiah. Um, for me, he is the reason why we are having so many players who are out of form. Right, it really is. Um, he picks these players. Don't get me wrong, But he's known we need a centre half in the January window, and he refused it and he let it go. Like he's got this is make or break for Moyes, in my opinion, because if we finish sixth in the league, Moyes should be given manager of the year for the team he's got. Like half the team are dead players who are deadwood, really. Like you got Mark Noble in there who's coming to the end of his career. You got Fredericks whose contract's running out. You got Issa Diop who looks like he's head set elsewhere. Yarmolenko still living. Like, what do you think with Moyes on this one? Because he's done great things, Moyes, right? Don't get me wrong, but he has to be criticised on this one if this goes wrong. And
Oh
the
yeah,
other day, it could have went massively wrong, and we would have looked at massive prats, all of us. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I'm big. I'm huge on, like, I don't care who you are, what you've done. You can always be criticized. Like
Hmm.
you could end world hunger, then the next day go murder people. I'm gonna say you're a piece of shit. like
Yeah,
like that. That's just how I see things. But like I'm not afraid to criticize Moyes when it's deserved. And yesterday, he he's he's partly to blame for our deadwood problem and our lack of players. But I would say, as far as yesterday, he put out a strong team, in my opinion. Like for that kind of match, really the only thing else he could have done was start Rice.
it was a strong team, Lucas, but it wasn't the right team. That's the only like
My
it looked
my
it looked
lineup,
strong.
I I didn't tweet this out, but I had a lineup in mind that
Mm.
I would have liked to seen. I would have, me personally, I would have done. I can't remember. I would have done Areola.
Yeah,
This is like a mix of what I would have done and what I thought Moyes would do. So Areola. Um, I personally would have had Ben Johnson at right back and Masuaku at left back, and I would have
I
had.
agree with you on that. I think if Masawaku cannot perform against Poxy Kidderminster, yeah, and everyone says, "Oh, go easy on Masawaku," yeah, then he shouldn't be here. Do you know what I mean? Like,
And then I would have done Dawson Diop personally,
mm.
or Dawson Elise.
No, I think Dawson and Diop would have been the right choice. That's your Europa League defense.
And then
So
midfield's a little weird. I would have I I had a feeling, I knew Krau was gonna play. So if Krau's gonna play, I think you would have had to play Suchek or Rice. And if you're gonna give one of the two people a rest, it's gonna be Rice. So I
mm,
would have done Suchek, Krau in the midfield. And then me personally, I would have done, in no particular position. I'm just gonna go straight across the three attacking midfielders and the striker. I would have done Bowen, Vlasic, Okaflex, and then Perkins up top, personally, or Perkins on the wing, Okaflex up top, whatever.
I, it's an hard one, right? Because the front four I thought was all right. Vlasic played the number 10 role where he wants to play. Everyone keeps telling me that this is Vlasic's role. He played it
I did
yesterday.
not like the Ben Rama started up top, didn't he?
No, it was Bowen up top, Yarmolenko on the right. Supposed to be at the start, and they
Okay.
swapped over in the 70th
Yeah,
minute, I think it
because
was.
the way they had the lineups come out, it basically said that he was starting
Mm,
at striker. And obviously
mm,
there was some points during the match where it did seem like he was playing striker for a little bit.
yeah.
But
I
I
just
don't
want to
know.
get to these comments, Lucas, yeah? Because like Amistad here says first, yeah, Zuma's ongoing injury weaknesses. I said that if he's so good, why would Chelsea get rid of him? I'll get rid. Great comment.
Say
It,
they got 5 to 6. I don't want to say incredible center halves, but they have 5 or 6 really good center
mm,
halves.
mm. And Ian says here, yeah, midfield two was weak, as had no legs, no creativity. The
I,
problem is with Krell, all right, is that you put Souček with him, they play in the National League together, like for the nation. I don't understand why you're putting Noble in there. And it ain't no dig at Noble. I like Noble. Noble's one of my favourite players. He's been an absolute top lad and legend at West Ham.
People, you know me. It's my famous saying. I say it every single week. I say it whenever I can because it rings true, and I feel like not a lot of people still like understand. Like the midfield literally wins or loses you the game.
Yeah,
Every single week, and that is a recipe for a fat loss. Right,
I agree.
Souček and Krau probably would have done decent because Krau Krau and Noble are not the same type of midfielder, but they kinda are in a way. They're both not mobile, they're both not fast. So like, I mean, that's really gonna get you stuck in the mud. Because like, out of those 2, yes, I would like Noble to be the one to go more forward than Krau, but Noble's not gonna really provide you anything going forward except for a good ball.
But Joe, what I can't understand yesterday, right, is you got 2 ball playing centre halves on that pitch. That's the first thing. Made no sense to me at all. Then you got 2 ball playing midfielders in Crowell and Noble. Who'd like to get the ball down and try and pass it. Alex Crowell couldn't pass the side of the street, mate. Don't know anything
The
else.
passing in general yesterday was sickening, and
Yeah,
that might be polite. Ben
yeah.
Johnson was incredibly shit, and I love Ben Johnson.
All of them, not just one. I think all of them were
Krau's
shocking.
passing
Do you
was
know what I mean?
shit. I thought Noble's passing was all right, but still, there's a lot of shaky moments there. Ryan Frederick's passing was diabolical. Issa Diop's was diabolical. Zuma's was diabolical too, but he at least made up for it a little bit with his defending.
Yeah.
And there's again, we said it. There's so much dead wood, and they clearly were not up for the fight, and that
I agree.
showed.
I agree, mate.
Except Declan
Anyway,
Rice, he was the only one that wanted to save my birthday weekend, and that's why I love him, and he's an absolute hero.
absolute hero indeed. Anyone who wants to join tonight, the link is in the chat. Do come on, talk to me and Lucas. Tell me your thoughts and what you are thinking about West Ham as a whole. You're more than welcome. Do you know what I mean? Also, hit the like on the video. It goes a long way. It helped me and Lucas out greatly. But we spoke about Moyes. We spoke about Issa Diop. Let's get to the other man at the moment, Mister I'm still living Yarmolenko. Lucas, I despise this geezer, mate, massively. I really, really do. He's not. Listen, there's not a lot of West Ham players that I've hated over the years, but he's one of them at the minute. He does nothing. All right. And what people say is he'll do a little bit of skill, or like he had a shot yesterday that went wide into an assist for the goal in extra time. How can anyone give that man any credit? Like, sooner he's at the door, the better. But I'm just going to say this before I hand it over to you. Do I blame him, or do I don't blame the ball and Moyes for still having this geezer at the club?
At this point, it's got to be Moyes. I just do not see for what David Moyes wants and expects from his starting 11 and his squad in general. Yarmolenko has got to be the last person on that list that appeases the ideologies and the strategy and the mindset of West Ham. Like, and you know me, I back my Balkan boys to the death. I love every Balkan extremely to the death, but I'm tired of seeing him as well. It's a disgrace.
I know exactly how you feel, mate. I just want to ask this question from Jazza, right? To what extent has Moyes been lucky in getting West Ham to where we are today? I'll tell you the reason why Moyes has been a little bit lucky, very lucky, is because there's about 4 teams who usually ain't as bad in the Prem being terrible this year. Now, you got Manchester United, who are not always like that. You got there's someone in the green room. I'll bring them in a minute. Manchester United, Tottenham have been terrible. That's why they've got Conte in and they've been all over the place. Leicester and Everton. That's 4 teams, right, who are spent a lot of money. Even Villa, to a point, have been not great. So for me, well, they was in the green room and they disappeared. So for me, West Ham are lucky at present to be where they are, right? And the table is showing fifth at present, but that will soon drop down when all them teams catch up. Because Tottenham will win games. There's no choice
Yeah.
about it. I know I can't stand Tottenham, but I've got to admit they will win games. Um, Manchester United are in the worst place that they've ever been, in my opinion. Not winning trophies, fired loads of money at it, can't do nothing. And in one way, we've been very lucky in games this year. Like we nicked a 1-0 at Everton in their bad moment. We nicked a 1-0 against Tottenham when we was awful. And we still nicked to win. Against Palace the other week, was it 3-0 up we was? Cruising. Yep. Then it ends up being like a last minute, oh my God, 3-2. So I would say we're lucky at present. Like the next three games, we'll really see where we're at. If we play Watford Tuesday night and win, go to Leicester and win, and play Newcastle and win, then I'll say, yeah, you know what? We're back on track.
Moyes has always been lucky in the sense of transfer window for sure too, because we all cry if you're not moving forward, you're standing still. And the game
100%.
the game stops for no man. You got to keep moving forward. And I would say he's lucky in that sense that he's barely made any signings, and we've somehow still maintained consistent form.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Moyes has done a good job, but then he's also put himself in the firing line here, ain't he, though, Lucas? Let's be honest, like no striker, no centre half. You're dealing with Yarmolenko, and let's be honest, as fans here, right? Yarmolenko is the backup striker, not Jared Bowen. Yarmolenko is right. If Jared Bowen, like, there's no way. So he takes Bowen from, let's just say for argument's sake, Antonio goes down. What's he going to do? Put Bowen up front and put who on the right? Who's going on the right now?
Exactly. I would have rather seen, as much as I despise Yarmolenko, I'd rather see him up top than Jared Bowen up top. I swear nobody wants to accept the fact, like, we all love Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen is an incredible talent. He's an incredible player. He's not a striker, and he will never be a striker. I don't care how good he is. Like, look, Mo Salah. Mo Salah is the best player in the world right now.
Yeah.
Can he play striker? I don't think so. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, you just can't play someone like that at a position.
What it is with West Ham, Lucas, is that we play away a certain way of playing. And Bowen only plays one way, and that's on the ground. Whereas Antonio will play, if you put balls into him, he can do a lot of holding it up. Bowen's pretty good at holding up, I've got to admit. But if we changed the way we play, then we're not the same West Ham. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I'm just sick of the whole, like, Jared Bowen can do the job up top.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like once every 4 or 5 games, but like, why would you? Yarmolenko has played striker before, and his work rate is already terrible, so I don't want him on the wing. You might as well just stick him up top and let Jared Bowen thrive in his best position. And yesterday showed that. I mean, against 6th-tier Kidderminster.
I know, mate. I know. James G says Yarmolenko was an absolute disgrace yesterday. He doesn't care. Did you see the video of his reaction compared to every other player when Rice scored?
Was absolutely disgusting. And
he actually turned his back, Lucas. If you watch it back, he turns his back on the goal, and it looks like he's walking back to the halfway line.
And I hate talking about former players. Like, obviously, like, you still have, like, that Allaire crowd. Like, I was always a Sebastian Allaire fan. I think he's a very good player. And you know how everyone would get on his back because, like, he wouldn't celebrate his goals, or like he just didn't really have any emotion, for which, in my opinion, all that is bullshit. Like, but he has never done that. That is a disgrace. When you see the polar opposite of Pablo Fornals and then Yarmolenko celebrating, I would die for Pablo Fornals, honestly. Yeah. I love that guy to death. But, like, it's just disgusting. But a part of me, I feel like, from a competitor standpoint, I do kind of feel it because he did have a shit game. We should be beating. That should have been a 4-0 win.
Yeah, but he should have been relieved though, Lucas.
Yes.
He should have been relieved. Like that Declan Rice pulled him out of the mire basically, because his name would have been in the scrapbook of being in like the worst ever FA Cup shock in the history of the FA Cup.
But what he did was just, it's so disgusting. And again, I'm a Balkan boy. I love them all, but I'm sick of this guy.
Listen, don't be biased, mate. But I will say this, right? What Ian's saying here, yeah. I just want to get into a couple of these stats. Lots of things have gone our way. Lack of injuries is true. We haven't had a lot of injuries really, as much as other clubs. And as you say, James, other teams are not playing to their normal level, and I 100% agree on that.
I would say our injuries are probably more significant than anyone else's, but that's obviously because our thin squad.
But then it's because we've got a thin squad.
If we had Ogbonna and Zuma playing, my word, I think I don't want to say we'd be flying, but we'd be close to flying. In my opinion.
I agree. I think Moyes has been lucky in having a world-class player in Rice to dig him out of certain situations. He's also lucky that our cheap signings of Dawson and Kafal have been good. I agree on that. He's been fortunate, very fortunate with the signings, right, to get every signing.
That's a good question. At the end of the day, in terms of value, who do you think was the better buy, Craig Dawson or Vladimir Coufal? I think that is a very good question, and if I were to answer that, again, it's tough because for £5 million in Coufal, you basically bought not Champions League level, but you've bought a right back who plays in the Champions League, plays in Europa League, first team international for a very well respected international side, but then you got this big bastard Craig Dawson, who has been all over the shop, all over the place for £2 million, and
they've both been as bad as one another, though, Lucas. When I look at the pair of them, I agree with what you're saying. Coufal's had a really, really good season last year, like really good. I just want to take his comment off and I'll put it back on in a minute because I want to read it out, right? But Coufal had a really, really good season last season. This season he hasn't been great. Ben Johnson's come in and sort of stepped up to the plate. You know what I mean? And if you had said to me 6 months ago, who's you rather have as your right back, Ben Johnson or Coufal, right? I'd say no, it's got to be Coufal. Coufal, excellent, top class. Not now, not really. Ben's getting to a level where he's pushing Coufal all the way.
You could make that argument though that Coufal's season last season is worth the £5 million in itself.
Oh yeah, and listen, there's no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, there's no doubt at all.
If I had to answer my own question, I think I lean Craig Dawson. He's such a bastard. We all know what he's about, and the fact that we bought him for £2 million and he's done.
The only reason why I would go with Coufal on that one is I think Dawson's done very, very well, but he's cost us in games big time, big time. Like the Newcastle game last season when he got sent off was one of them where he completely just went into overdrive and literally killed us.
He is such a bastard. I do love
you know what I mean? But let's get into these comments. Let's read them out and answer them for the folks. Moyes gets us a top 10 finish in the next few seasons, despite missing out on multiple opportunities to push on because of his stubbornness. Would that be enough in your eyes to sack him? If I'm honest, Jazza, and this is me, my personal opinion, I think this is the best we're going to get from Moyes. I think we will compete for Europa League places, but I think this is the best we're going to get. Me personally, before I hand it over to Lucas, I look at us and I think, where is all these young players that he promised? Like Oko Flex is sitting on the bench and he can't even get on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? So, would I sack him? No, because I think he's keeping us steady in the league. Then it also goes down to the owners and ambition and everything else. Like if Kadinsky takes over, I don't think Moyes is here. I think Moyes will be told, right, you've got to get me in the top 8 every year. If you don't, you're gone. Because I think that's what he'd be like, Kadinsky, if I'm honest. What do you reckon, Lucas, on that?
Here will be an interesting comparison for you that I think you'll understand because you have a pretty good basic knowledge of all sports.
Mm.
It's kind of like a college basketball situation when it comes to like a really good school. So Moyes, he's a good manager, good coach, but he's got great strategy. He knows what to do, but he's not the best recruiter. He's not very attractive. You know what I mean?
Mm.
He doesn't have the pull, is what I'm saying. Now, when you talk about like let's say Kentucky college basketball, like that, they had a coach. He just got all the best players out of high school because he
Mm.
just had that pull, and people want to go there, and players would attract other
But
good players.
but is Moyes attracting these players, or is it Declan
No,
Rice attracting
that's
these
what I'm
players?
saying. I don't think regarding the question, I'm almost in the same boat with you because he's done great things and I think he's a great manager, a great coach. But like you would almost rather pull the trigger on finding another manager or coach that is close to David Moyes, but he has the pull. He's able to attract players. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Instead of
yeah.
depending on and that's another thing about our squad. We have maybe one or two players that like can attract other players. There's like Liverpool, Man City, Man United, and other clubs.
Mm.
They've got a full starting 11 of players that have so much pull and can get someone through the door and really
Yeah.
like persuade them to come. We don't have that. So regarding the question, it's really tough. I love David Moyes to death. I really do. But with that question, I would say I would take the risk on finding another manager because I do think there's a lot of good managers out there, but and they probably have a better pool than
Mm.
Moyes, if that makes
Uh,
sense.
I think it's all about the owners, mate, on this one. 'Cause I think if the owners are happy and content with just saying top 10 finishes, then Moyes will get you there every year without fail. I believe with a decent budget, Moyes will guarantee you top 10. Um, if we're aiming higher
And
than top 10,
we're still waiting for that. The jury's out.
because let's be honest, before I
Or the
move on to
jury's
the other
still in.
yeah, before I move on to the other comments, because I want to try and get through everyone's comments tonight. When I look at this season will be a true reflection of where West Ham are, because there'll be fans in the ground. It's back to normal. It's a normal season. Last season was a bit of a freak because there was no fans. And if we all roll back to last season, roll back to the first game of last season, Newcastle at home, 2-0 defeat. We played the worst football I've ever seen West Ham play. Dean Garner had just got sold and the fan base was up in arms and was gunning for GSP, right, big time. Mark Noble comes out on Twitter and says it's a disgrace. Why is he gone? He gutted and everything. If the fans would have been there, every game would have been quite toxic to a point.
Oh
And
my
when
goodness.
they shut the games down, and there was just West Ham playing, West Ham had no pressure really. They had pressure on the
Mm.
game, obviously, but some teams can handle it, and I feel West Ham handled it better than most. Yeah, and let's be honest, we was only a couple of points away from Champions League. We should have got.
They never had to handle a moment. They just had to handle a scenario, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, and that's what it was. And that's what I feel on that. So I get through these comments, Lucas. When there's no crowds, you could have the trainers barking orders at the players. That helped us play better. And
I actually quite
oh yeah,
liked hearing all the communication that
mm,
goes on because again, I'm a huge basketball guy and like the esse- the number one thing that makes you better as a team, you talk a lot. Like you
yeah,
don't stop talking. And I from that aspect of COVID, I really just liked hearing all the players barking like what to do and pointing
mm,
and all that. I love that.
mm. Paul says spot on regards our position this year. Other teams have been poor, and has helped us stay in the mix. I am adamant on that. And what it is, Paul, and probably Lucas will probably agree with me on this, is that we are blagging it. When I say that word blagging it, I can't say it any clearer. Like, if West Ham go and win the next 3 games, that's Watford at home, Leicester away, Newcastle at home, then my attitude might change a bit and say, you know what? Yeah, we're not blagging it. We're performing to the level that we should be. Do I think we'll win the next 3 games? I don't think so myself, I must admit. What do you think on that, Lucas, before I get to Charlie Walsh's comment?
I mean, after what I saw yesterday and them trying to ruin my weekend, I have really no confidence on Tuesday. None.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. I just woke up to go pee, right? And I decided to risk the new phone by bringing it out into the toilet purely to wish Lucas a happy birthday. What an absolute man. That is from Charlie Walsh,
Thank you,
fellow
brother.
contributor to the channel. Hope you're well, Charlie. Looking forward to actually watching the show tomorrow morning while I work. Enjoy yourself, gentlemen. Cheers, Charlie.
Cheers.
I like on the like the video, everyone. Charlie Walsh promoting it, mate. Well done, Charlie. I'll pay you later, son. But apparently, there was no one out there who would been an upgrade on some of these players. Now, this is an interesting point from Jazza. Now, for me, is that an insult or what, Lucas?
That's the only thing I thought about through the whole match.
Mm.
Literally, I tweeted it in all caps too at one point. I was like, "There's no one in this world that's better than Issa Diop."
Yeah,
Like,
but it's a handful of players, Lucas. Like when I look at it, yeah, right. I've tried to jump in, but we've got no left back. Take Cresswell, we've got no left back at the club, right? Maz is not a left back. Right? He's a left sided winger at best. He's a bad one at that. Right? So we've got no left back at the club. Not knocking Dawson, but Dawson is right. We never left Upton Park. I say this all the
yeah,
time. We never left Upton Park for a £2 million Craig Dawson. Right? But it is what it is. He does a job. He's okay. Right? Issa Diop, no good. Right? We've all known it as fans, but we've sort of give him time.
there
I
are
think,
so many players that could be
mm,
upgraded. You could even argue Cresswell could be upgraded because don't get me wrong, I love Aaron Cresswell and I think he's
mm.
a quality left back.
But
But
he's
like
32. I agree with you.
exactly.
He's 32 years
Like
old.
Lucas Digne, they're the same type of left back, but I would say Digne is like I don't want to say a step above Cresswell, but like he's better than Cresswell in my opinion. That's
Mm,
very and that's a very realistic upgrade.
yeah. Ian says here we have to get 10 points from 4 games this month, as March is very tough. We've added Europa League and FA
Yeah.
Cup games. We have to get lucky with no injuries to the best 11, 13 players to compete that month.
I said at the when we were talking about our next 3 games, I said nothing less than 7 points. But
Mm.
after yesterday, God forbid, I don't even know what my new standard is or my new desire for the next 3 matches are.
The thing is, I agree with what it was that was Ian, right? I agree with what Ian's saying, but we're hoping to get by. Instead of you go and get 2 players, you're expecting, right? And that's the thing.
We're just in cruise control and not in the good way.
Yeah, I agree there, mate. I really do. Jazza, was Alex Crowd that bad yesterday to be hooked at half time? I thought he was poor, but there were much bigger culprits out there. I think he was poor, Jazza, if I'm honest.
In the circumstance, absolutely.
Yeah, I think he was poor, mate.
He
And
would have
I've
he probably would have been better if he stayed in the match and obviously Declan and Suchek come on. But in the scenario and the circumstance,
mm,
absolutely.
I think the only reason why Mark Noble was still on the pitch because he's been at West Ham all his life and he's a club icon. So I think he would have been roped out and all. But then, yet again, Alex Crowell and Mark Noble, I think they've only played together once. And that was at Manchester United away in the League Cup. Now, you bring Thomas Souček on to save the game. Why don't you just play Souček and Crowell?
Exactly.
And then if you go a couple of goals up, you bring Noble on, shut the game down, job done. You ain't got to use Rice. But we're not football managers, Lucas, but we can see it for what it is, but David Moyes can't. So, which is criminal in itself. Paul says here, yeah, do you feel what happened with Haller has put off other decent strikers signing for us? He scored before coming to us. he has done with Ajax since leaving. I think we missed a trick with him. Listen. I'm
I
with
think
you, Lucas, on that. I think Haller was all right, but we just didn't play to his play to his strengths.
that was a very good comment, and I'm in full agreement with that.
Yeah.
Again, and like I was saying with Moyes being able to like pull in talent like from other clubs or whatever, like during the transfer window. I think that what that comment said could be a factor
Mm.
because
Yeah, but
nothing's worse than coming to a team that doesn't suit you. That's terrible.
but the problem is though, is Moyes don't sign strikers, and as Charlie Walsh, friend of the channel and friend in life, pointed out, in 6 transfer windows that Moyes has been at West Ham, that's 2 spells. We've signed Jordan Hugill and he's played 22 minutes.
910 days, I think it's been.
That's what I'm saying. So
Not
that to
counting
me
or
is
anything.
yeah, not counting at all. Jazza, if this is the best we're going to get with Moyes, could there be a case to be careful what we wish for if we got another manager like Pellegrini, whose man management is nowhere near as good as Moyes? The problem is, I agree with that to a point, Jazza, but we're at a stage now where we're at a crossroads. Right? What do we do? Do we go right? Aston Villa are going to get stronger with Gerrard. Everton are going to get stronger with Lampard. Newcastle are going to get stronger. If they stay up Newcastle, they will fire money at you. Yeah, they won't be far behind.
It's a real coin flip.
Yeah, you got Arsenal in there. You got Leicester. Now Leicester report today. I see them get absolutely destroyed against. I think Leicester are at that sort of crossroad moment in their sort of progression.
Rodgers is definitely going after season.
Right. So for me, you have to fire money at it. And people say, "Oh, it ain't all about spending money." It is when you want to compete with the big boys because they can go out and fire out 100 million a summer transfer window.
Yeah,
West Ham only they do a 50 million.
And we've all been waiting and praying for the moment. It should have happened in January. Hopefully, for God's sake, it happens in the summer. We still haven't seen a summer or any window in general where Moyes has a lot of funds to work with. And I know there's been statements, yada, 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 in January, but we all know the summer's different. He'll definitely have more money in the summer than January. I still think, while I agree with that comment and what you said, we just need to see the other side happen first before we can make a judgment. Because I still genuinely believe if you give David Moyes £100 million to work with in the summer, top 4 is definitely achievable, especially with the type of players he gets.
When you sort of break it down, I just want to get through his comments, right? But when you break it down to a point, right, we've got to sign about 8 players. That's no joke. Like Krell will have to be replaced. Mark Noble would have to be replaced. Yarmolenko will have to be replaced. Massively have to be replaced.
Well, I hope Rob Newman doesn't have anything else better to do. I hope.
So do I, mate. Right, but when you look at Maz would have to be replaced. But we need a left back now with Maz in the team. So we need about 8 players. It's not good. It's not good. Jones says here, the psychology of the team is key, right? Kafal and Souček were grateful to sign and brought work ethic, which is true, yeah? And that kicked the others players up the butt. Moyes wants to bring in similar, but we have changed. The problem is you can bring in similar, but you've also got to sometimes bring in quality and all. Like Souček and Kafal have been very, very good signings. Yeah, but we need a bit more than just work ethic.
That's another reason why the windows are so tough, because realistically, it's the same in all sports. There's so many players that have all the talent in the world, but they don't work hard. Then you have a bunch of players that work their asses off, but
the talent.
The talent's not there. With Moyes, Soufal, Souček, and Bowen, that literally he's hit the target on all 3 of them. But again, it's so hard to recruit that. You just unless you're
but I think he's being stubborn though, Lucas, to a point. I think he's been so set in his ways, like old-fashioned stubbornness.
No,
Like,
I totally agree. What I'm saying is the game he plays is dangerous because you can't get that lucky all the time. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. And he has been lucky. Let's be honest here. Right. Me personally, I think he's only made one bad signing, and that's Vlasic for me. The rest of them, I'll tell a lie, maybe two. Because if he has signed Krau, then Krau hasn't worked out either. But then, like, I don't know what to feel when it comes to the signings because I don't think Vlasic was a Moyes signing, and I think Krau was brought in through Souček and Kafal.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? It's an
Mhm.
interesting one. Ian says here, yeah, Moyes should play some of the youngsters. However, I think he would rather what's that to play the first team squad players out of position. I understand what Ian's saying there, right? We keep playing players out of position for some reason, right? We do it with Ben Johnson all the time. We do it with Bowen all the time.
I still can't get over Okaflex not starting. I predicted and said that Moyes was probably not going to start a bunch of youngsters, but he Perkins or Okaflex needed to start yesterday.
Mate, I don't know what Okaflex has got to do, Lucas. Has he got to score 5 goals a game in the under 23s to start getting a look in? I don't know what he's got to do.
Because I mean, the under 23s that arguably is like if you had to put the U23s
Mm.
at a certain tier of the English football ladder, like where are you putting that? Like I would assume that I think they're better than a conference league
Uh,
team.
well, what it is, they actually play sort of like a cup, don't they?
Yeah.
Like they used to play like a LDV like
Like if you put our
trophy.
U23s up against Kidderminster, do you
If you
expect
play
us to
the under
win?
23s against, say, what's the other thing, Leighton Orient's first team, I think it's I think Leighton
It's
Orient's
a good match.
yeah, Leighton Orient's first team will give them a good game, definitely. But I think Leighton Orient's first team will be massive
Yeah.
favourites.
So that's my point. If
Yeah,
Okaflex is doing all that in the U23, surely he should be able to smash it against Kidderminster, you
yeah,
know?
I agree, mate. Jones says here, my question is, can Moyes get further if he buys star names?
Of course.
Now, for me, we need a couple of marquee signings to show intent. Like if they go out and get a Jonathan David, get Lingard on a free, and basically revamp this team up, then you can say, you know what, things are looking rosy. But
I've always been a big believer in just acquiring the right star signing in each stage of the pitch. So like I don't necessarily want 2 star center halves. I would really like a one good center back and then the other has like something about him. Um let's say our attack, the striker and our 3 attacking midfielders or 2 wingers, however you want to say it.
yeah,
I'd rather have out of those 4, I want one of them to be a superstar and then the other 4 kind of work around what the star player is good at. You know what I mean?
what I want to see at West Ham, I agree with what you're saying, but I looked at it today. Yeah, Keane Lewis Potter, right, the one at Hull
Did he
scored the other
score
day,
again?
decent. Right, Brendan Johnson, who I had been raving about on this channel and another channel, saying
He is so good.
right? He turned it on today against Forest, got man the match. Right now, if West Ham was to go out and buy a couple of these sort of younger players, getting a like a star signing,
That's what
Jonathan
I
David
wanna
or something,
see.
right? And a
I would
couple,
love to see Keane Lewis Potter come in to fill Andre Yarmolenko's place.
yeah.
That'd be brilliant.
Because what it is, what people got to understand is, we don't just need a striker. We need to replace Yarmolenko and all, even though he's shockingly crap. Do you know what I mean? Like we need to replace him with someone who wants to play for the club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's an interesting one. Paul says here, yeah, Judge Moyes after the summer window, he has credit in the bank with us, but this could go very quickly if he don't sign better
absolutely.
players. I agree, Paul, 100%. Jazza, Moyes is like your solid Honda or BMW car, but other top European managers like Klopp and Conte are like Ferraris and Aston Martins, which most people want because of their branding and their attractiveness. Yeah, to a point, but sometimes a Robin Reliant will get you from A to B, like a little mini metro. So, do you know what I mean? We are hungry to do well because we didn't have star players. That needs to be a change. I agree. Jay Woods, mate, long time follower of me on different channels. Top lad is. Hi, James and Lucas. Do you think Moyes has seen the light with Yarmolenko? Surely he won't keep playing him. He offers nothing. Oko flex time to shine, in my opinion. For me, if it comes to Tuesday night, Lucas, and say 60 minutes in, we're drawing a game, and a couple of players who were playing on that moment ain't performing, right? If he pulls out Yarmolenko, right, I expect the fan base to go mad.
Yes. I think, like, and don't get me wrong, of course, everyone played like shit yesterday, bar Rice and Fornals. But
barring the subs, Lucas, I think all the subs got credit.
Or like I was saying, we played so shit yesterday, but there is no way after what we saw this weekend, Andre Yarmolenko should never, ever, 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 ever again play in the kit.
Nah,
if he can't do the business against Kidderminster, I just and like I said, I get it because everyone played bad, but like that's got to be the shining light for Moyes. That's got to be the slap in the face. Like, wow, this guy's actually that shit. I should never play him again. I should maybe give Perkins or Okaflex a chance.
Ian says here, yeah, under 23 players like Oko Flex, Elise, Longello, or Ashby could hit the ground running and impress, given the chance. However, Moyes will play safe and play the first team squad players out of position. Do you know what Ian said there is bang on? Yeah, because Ashby, for me, is the best that I've seen out of the under 23s by a country mile. I think you can go and put Ashby in a team on Tuesday night and he'll do you a job. He won't let you down. Longello, I think he's a bit he's a bit clumsy a little bit, but he's not too bad. Elise, the only thing I got with Elise is that he went on loan to Cambridge and he couldn't even get in Cambridge's team last season. And he was like, and we're expecting him to come in the Premier League and perform.
Yeah, I think the one thing with Elise, and I do get this argument from people, but I'm not really like a huge fan of it. Like, how old is he now? He's like 22, 23. If he hasn't shown anything now, is he ever going to? Well, we'll never know until he gets a chance. You know what I mean? But I think Elise is decent. Longello is too. While I do love Arthur Masuaku, he's too Masuaku-ish for me personally. But I do think he has strong attributes to his game that can set him apart and make him special. Ashby, without a doubt, is the closest thing to the first team from the academy right now. And I really hope one of these days we can just, we're in a shit situation anyway because we can't go 3-0 up or we're going to blow it. 2-0 is not a big enough lead. We're going to have to go 4-0, 5-0 up to see these guys get in there.
I know, mate. I know. Jones says here, realistically, we haven't played well for a while. I can't see us going on a winning run. I agree with Joan on this one. For me, personally, we haven't played well for ages. Last time I see West Ham play really well was Liverpool at home.
Months.
Yeah.
I would say probably 2 months we've been teeter-tottering between average and absolute shit.
This year, we haven't played great. Against
the first
Palace,
3 months, were great.
Yeah.
And then
up to the end of October,
yeah,
we was decent. And after that, we've just, even against Arsenal in December, I think it was, right? We're all going there thinking, you know what, we're top 4, we're massive and all that. And we just get absolutely, destroyed. But yeah, I agree. Jay Wood's got an interesting comment here, right? So I can see Moyes selling Diop for 15, 17 million, getting Tarkowski on a free transfer. I will take that right now. As long as that 17 or 15 million gets invested, I think that's the move.
I hate him, but it'd be a good signing.
Yeah, I agree. Ian, what do you think of playing Souček up front as an alternative option.
It wouldn't surprise me. Very Fellaini. Very Fellaini of Moyes.
Mm. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but the problem is we lack in all departments when it comes to that, don't it? Let's be honest. Like you take him out, who we're going to put in midfield with Rice?
Exactly.
I mean, probably put like Diop in midfield or something. West Ham, Jace, how you doing, son? Hope you are very well, mate. You come on today, done the FA Cup, drawing me, Diamond Man. We will be lucky to get 70 million for Diop. I agree. I think people will probably pay us. What we got here? Paul, if West Ham finish outside the top 7 and don't qualify for Euro, will we not be aiming for top class players next season? Moyes missed our only chance to progress us in this window. Bang on. Because I had said this earlier on, funny enough. I can't remember who I said it on, but there's got to be, like, are we, it's a great comment, Paul, by the way. Like, are we aiming for players unrealistically? Like going in there and going 50 million and 50 million for 100 million combined bid for Rafinha and Phillips. They can get better clubs than West Ham United. Like he said, and that's no disrespect. I love West Ham to death, but I'm not going to be sitting here and say that we can go out and cherry pick these players.
And the situation isn't great either. Like,
yeah,
why would they come to West Ham when Rafinha, a great player, Jared Bowen plays in his position and is better than him right now. Calvin Phillips, to Calvin Phillips' credit, he's a very good midfielder, but we don't know how he'd work with Declan Rice in the Premier League, of course. We know how he works internationally.
I think they would work well together. Listen, if West Ham signed Rafinha out from Leeds, I'd be over the moon. Imagine having Rafinha, Ben Rama, Bowen. Yeah, then all you need is a striker. Then we're rolling.
I think even Jordan Hugill could work with those three.
Yeah, I think that would be a phenomenal three-man attack, like with a centre forward. Yeah. Other issues are, like, when you look at it, like a left back, a centre half, Areola, we don't know what he's doing.
Like, I don't think the player expectations are unrealistic. I think it's a situational aspect.
Yeah.
Like, do I think we can get someone like Jonathan David? Absolutely. I think it's ambitious, but not unrealistic.
But what we've got to do, though, Lucas, is we've got to act like a big club. West Ham have got to act like, you know what, we're going to get this man out there.
Even though we're the most massive club in the world, we're pretenders.
And let's be honest here, it's quite a valid point here.
Our board are pretenders.
Has Moyes really got the pulling power of attracting these players?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Like I said earlier, that's like one of the crossroad problems. Like, Moyes is arguably one of the best managers in the world right now, but he doesn't have that recruiting pulling power like I was comparing with a college basketball coach.
West Ham have to get something this year in regards of European football. That would be the poll. If West Ham finished 9th, right, and other people get Europe,
too great.
Yeah, it'd be like, it won't be as challenging. Like, I expect about 100 million, 120 million from West Ham board in the summer. That's not a joke. Like, we're supposed to have money in the January window. We didn't spend nothing.
Because of what we did in January, that puts, again, that's another thing that's bullshit about the whole situation and what happened in January. Now that we missed an opportunity that was right in front of us to upgrade and push for top 4. Now the amount of pressure that is on the lads to try and finish top 6, hell, even top 7, like, that pressure is huge. Because they got to face the circumstances of no European football. Rice could leave. Bowen could possibly be leaving.
I don't think Bowen goes. I think Deck could go, but I don't think Bowen goes. Happy Hammer 82 says, I don't know if we need wholesale change. I think we just need a few quality players to fine tune what we already have, similar to Liverpool. They know all they need was a goalkeeper and a centre back, and they went on to win the Premier League. I agree with that and disagree with that comment. Yeah, so I'm a bit 50-50 on that comment. All right. Liverpool still had Salah. They still had Mane. Had Jordan Henderson in there. They done well in their transfer business, but Right, we've only got one world class player in our team, and Liverpool had about 3 or 4 before they even signed. Do you know what I mean? So it's an interesting one. What do you reckon on that, Lucas?
Well, you could still make the argument that Liverpool's defending is shit because all they
Mm,
do is attack and they just get countered very easily. But no, I agree with you.
mm, mm. Jay says here, yeah, no, typical West Ham will just sell for an undisclosed fee. I'm just going to agree. Paul says here, yeah, Rice will be sold. He's gone. Zuma is injured, and it won't be long until others drop as well. I hope enjoyed the ride because we're about to come flying down on the other side. I agree with Paul on this one.
It's looking likely.
Yeah. If Moyes gets us in the top 10, it's a great achievement with what he's got. If Moyes gets us in the top 6, right, he
Manager
has
of the
to.
year.
He's manager of the year. If Moyes gets us top 4, give him keys to
He
Stratford.
should have won it. He should have won it the other season.
Yeah, he should have done, mate. Really. Connor North. Look at the lower league cup. We have under 23s in that, so roughly League One level is for our under 23s. I would say League Two level, not League One. Teams like Portsmouth, Sunderland, all that, I think would go through our under 23s quite easy. In if they're playing well, obviously, but we've got a lot of under 23s there. Should be out on loan. That's the only problem. And finally, what we've got here, Paul. Yarmolenko and Vlasic would be the stars of the Premier League too. So many names have flopped with massive expectation from performing well in under 23. The level is completely different. I agree, Paul. Scotty Venn, the chef, is in the house. How you doing, son? Happy Hammer 82. The way Ashby plays is like Trent. Really excited to see more of him. If you're good enough, you're old enough. How will we know if how good they are if we don't give them a chance? I agree. I agree on that. But I think Ashby is next level. What you've seen of Ashby, Lucas, what do you make of him?
I mean, he's I would say the new type of right back that's starting to develop in the world of football. I think he has a lot of promise. Me personally, I think his intricate part of his game needs a lot of work, but like it's there. Like he does everything pretty solid, but like the intricate the inc- I can't even pronounce the word. I think he just needs to work on his situational passing, short passing. Is
Yeah.
like I like to call them triangle passes. Like when you get in the situation, you triangle pass. That to me, that's like maybe one of the only parts of his game right now I think is incredibly shaky. And
Mm,
it's something that you think like that'll just come over time, but like it's important.
yeah. I
It's too
agree.
it's too important that like you just can't stick him in there and then he'll do the job. Like no, you got to be able to do those small things really well, and that's what sets players
Mm,
apart.
I agree with you, mate, on that. Paul says here, yeah, youth players for Premier League teams get their chance out on loan. Look at Chelsea. They do it all the time. They loan all their players out. If they shine, then they will get a chance. If they flop in Division 1 or the Championship, then they ain't Premier League quality. Simple. Pretty basic there from Paul. I agree. Happy Hammers just agreeing there. What else we got here? Connor. Let's have a look. I want to see a £50 million player through the door during the summer. But honestly, I can't see them spending too much. Sell Rice cash and sell the club. Before I move on to other comments, I feel if they sell Rice, they will use all the money from Rice to reinvest in the team. I do believe that. I believe they will do it, but they won't invest no money into the team. If that makes sense. So the money that they were supposed to invest, they'll be doing it for nothing, basically. So a free bet. What do you reckon?
I disagree. I think they're just a bunch of money hungry scumbags, and
Mm,
they're looking to sell in 2023. If we sell Rice for whatever, I think they're gonna pocket it. Personally, I don't think they're gonna. Basically, what I'm saying is, if they sell Rice for 120 million pounds, I think they may reinvest, if we're
mm.
lucky, 30, 40 million pounds of that
Ah,
into the squad.
I think there'd be more than that. I could.
My
There's
my
no.
expectations for them are that low.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we sold Rice, just for argument's sake, we sold Rice for 100 million. I believe 100 million will be spent, or at least
I
80 of it.
I just have a hard time feeling that way just because I know they want to sell
Mm,
the very next season or next year. I just
mm,
they're such scumbags and money hungry rodents. I just have a feeling they would just pocket that money or most of
mm.
it.
Let's get into these final couple of comments here. I expect Moyes to buy at least 2 players last month, but now I'm not confident he'll buy a few good signings in the summer. That's
Yeah.
from Joan. Connor North says, "Are we still paying back debts to them with interest? If so, that is where the Rice money will be going." I think Kadinsky's bailed him out of the debts, though. That's why he's come in. I think he's paid up. Joe, one thing I will say, Lucas, before we sort of come to the end, because I know we've overrun it a little bit here. Has Daniel Kadinsky got him out of debt to a point? So FFP, the
Yeah.
financial fair play, yeah, goes up. So West
Mhm.
Ham can now go out and spend 110, 120 million on players. What do you reckon? Because
Maybe.
If West Ham's in loads of debt,
Yeah.
then they can't spend that amount of dough, can they?
No, they can't because they
What
got
do
to
you reckon?
vote. I do think it's hard for me because I know anyone can just like say anything and just read off a script, but I do think Krasinski. A lot of people think Krasinski was brought in to save the debt, really help the debt, whatever.
Mm.
I think some of that's true, but I really do think the pool of Suchek, um, Sufal, Crawl, and then the ambassador for them, or the the England's Czechoslovakian ambassador. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I
I
know you're on
but
about that.
I think that pool interested him. So
Mm.
I'm a bit weary on it, but I do think I'm really not sure. It's up in the air.
I feel that Kadinsky will be more ambitious than GSB have ever been.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, and that is enough for me to go. You know what? That's fair enough.
Like I
If
said,
Kadin,
their standards are so low. Like
yeah,
anything, literally anyone is better than GSB.
yeah, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think he's in it to make money, Kadinsky, because he's a multi-billionaire, right? And like he's got a few quid. But I also think he's looking at it from the property side of it. He's going to
Yeah.
wait. It's going to make West Ham like Chelsea Village, basically, like West Ham Village, where you have all sort of like Stratford, big tourist attraction, like
Mhm.
a franchise. Thing that we don't like to hear, but let's be honest, I think that's what it will be. Let's get into a couple more of these comments because they're flying in. The ball never spend their own money. Players purchase always produced in through the club money and offset with loans against the club. Very few owners use their own money to buy players. I agree. They just don't have the money of Abramovich, and the open accounts show that the only money they have taken from the club is interest in loans. Money from player sales does not get pocketed. I said on Daya's show we get promoted 10 years ago this year. Promoted 10 years ago this year. Bearing last season was the first few months of the season. Whereas it's like we're going to crash again. Kadinsky is in it for the benefit of the club. He's in it for the property, just like GSB. I believe he is in it for the property, as like before we come to the end. But I do feel that he will look at West Ham and think, I can earn money out of West Ham if they do better in the league. West Ham in the Championship is not worth the money it's written.
That's
West
that's
Ham,
that's what I keep. We've talked about this and stressed this before on why
yeah,
GSB are so stupid. Like, why wouldn't you take an 100 million? I mean, and I get it. They don't want to do a whole Pellegrini over it again. But like in the situation we're in, why not spend 50 million, 100 million pounds or whatever on trying to get into the Champions League because you're literally going to quadruple your profits.
yeah, but this is the interesting thing, right? This is where it gets interesting for me. I'm going to run this for another 15 minutes, and then we'll wrap up, right? But for me, who is to blame for that? Is it Moyes for being stubborn in the market? Has he been given money? And the owner said, "Here you go. I'm giving you 50 million or 60 million. Go and spend it on whoever you like." And Moyes is being stubborn, or is it the owners for not backing Moyes enough?
If I
Like,
had
it's
if I had to pick one side, because
mm,
the clear answer is both. If I had to pick one side, I will always blame GSB for everything bad that has ever happened.
I agree on that, but also Moyes is a stubborn one and all.
Yeah.
He's very. You've
Yeah,
only got to look
like
at
I
the way
said,
he is.
the answer's both 100%, but if we had to pick one, I'm
Well, it'd be interesting this summer, wouldn't it? If we come to
yeah.
the summer and West Ham are being linked with all these players, like they always do every single summer, and we only sign 4 players, because it wouldn't surprise me. I'm expecting 8 players at West Ham in the summer window. Because I think Maz will go, Fredericks will go, Noble will go, Crow will be gone, Yarmolenko will be gone. That's 5. Who else is here? Ariola will not be here. Randolph won't be here. Martin won't be here. So that's your goalkeepers. So we're going to need a couple of goalkeepers. Um, who am I missing? Who am I missing in that lot? Like, I've got 8 players there. Who else is
Maserati
there?
possibly? Did you already say
Fredericks.
Maserati?
I think. Well, I don't know whether I said Fredericks or not, but Fredericks will go. His contract will go down. Do you know what I mean? So it is an interesting one. It is. Paul says here, yeah, if we qualify for top 6, Moyes will have to go out and spend a fortune on players to improve us. Is cheaper and probably easier for us to just be a mid-table team. For me,
And then he
for
said
me,
for the board, I
yeah.
mean.
But for me, honestly though, Lucas, right, we should be spending that anyway.
Yeah.
As a like as a club, we
I
should
mean,
be.
we all know it's a GSB thing. Their only goal is to stay up.
Hmm.
That is the only goal and mission they have. They don't
But
want
one thing I will say, this summer, and I understand what Paul's saying in the chat, right? And Mike, it's good to see you, mate. I hope you're very well and family's all good, as always. Um, One thing I will say is this summer there's going to be a lot, and I do mean a lot of free transfers. So a lot of
a lot.
players have run their contracts down. Contracts down. Sorry. So I like Jesse Lingard's run his down. All the top players are running their contracts down for some reason, right? Because they don't want to be. I don't think clubs have got the money. So don't be surprised if West Ham get a couple of free transfers in, like 3 or 4 free transfers. And if West Ham went out and got 4 free transfers, right, and 4 signings, I'd be over the moon. Absolutely
That'd
over
be
the
good
moon.
business.
Yeah, like, and if they went out and got like Jonathan Dave,
Skint but good business.
yeah, but you know what? Jay Woods has said it here, yeah, because I think I've just sort of triggered something in the chat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to go over this. I blame the ball, but Moyes hasn't signed anyone, not even from the Championship. I think he's part of the problem. He wants to a certain type of mindset. Sorry, he won't get.
Yeah.
Jay
We went
Woods.
over that. It's a very
Hmm,
what he wants is incredibly hard to find. And we've
I
been
agree.
lucky with 3 players.
Yeah, I agree, mate. He says, Jay Woods says here, yeah, Tarkowski, Johnson, Belotti, Lingard, David, and a left back is a realistic transfer business for us.
Because
Next
6 of those are on free, or 5 of those are on freeze in the summer.
on free transfer. So all you'll be doing, there's no transfer fee, just pay the wages.
Yeah.
So yeah. Mike says, I would keep 16. We need to sign 8 or 9. I agree, Mike, there. And
Yep.
Paul, with the final comment of the evening, we won't compete on the salary with other rivals for any free agents worth having. I don't know, Paul. I disagree on that. I think some of the players that we can attract, I think Lingard be one of them.
I don't think wages is a problem. It's always the transfer fee. That is
Yeah,
always the biggest problem.
yeah.
Realistically in the Premier League, I would say besides teams like Brentford, Norwich, Burnley, and maybe a couple others, most of the squads I think can house several 80 to 100,000 pound players.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
we
got.
have three Yarmolenko, Zuma. Isn't Lanzini on 100?
I'm not too sure what Lanzini's on, mate. I
But
think he's on
you
about
get what I'm
90.
saying though.
Yeah.
The wages are never the problem. I think it's always the transfer fee most
Mm.
of the time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think, do you know what? Just pay their wages.
Exactly.
If they want 80 grand a week, right, and they're worth keeping. Like for
That
me,
shouldn't be a problem for us.
Areola. If you had a choice between Areola or Sam Johnson, yeah, I'd go for Areola. But we all know that Sam Johnson's the man that Moyes really wants because he's a free transfer and he's going to be on 25, 30 grand a week. So it's
I
an
really
interesting.
pray that doesn't happen.
Moving away from all this conversation, Lucas. Tuesday night. Give me your prediction and how you see it will go on Tuesday.
Jesus. This is almost damn near impossible. Um, we're obviously going to play our strongest team most likely. Really, really hopeful Zuma is not is hurt is what it looked like because that looked I thought he'd done his ACL
Mm.
genuinely because of the way he stepped on the ball and that just the awkward turn that you take when you do that. I really genuinely thought the worst, but hopefully he's back. Big Craig hopefully will be there to partner him. Man, I don't know. Like I said, after what we saw this weekend, it's really hard for me to be positive, honestly. But when Declan Rice is on the pitch, anything's possible in my eyes. So I'm gonna we're gonna play a strong side. I think I'm gonna go 2-1. Actually, no, I'm gonna go 3-1 because Watford's defending is quite shit, and our defense is also
Is
shit.
that to us or Watford?
West Ham.
um, for me, I think West Ham will be up for this game. I'll tell you the reason
Hopefully.
why. I think it's the first game back after the sad passing of Isla Caitlin, and there's going to be a minute's applause, and there's going to be some remembrance for that little girl who was absolute warrior, right? You know what I mean? So for me, I think all the players will be galvanised by that. I think also they've had a bit of a reality check against Kidderminster. I think they knew that they got away with murder there,
God, I hope.
and this is either going to go one or two ways, Lucas. It's either going to go the way of kicks them up the arse and they come out and blast Watford out the ground, or it goes the other way and goes that we struggle. I don't think Declan Rice would allow them to struggle. I think he
Yeah.
would be into them tomorrow morning. They'll be in training. I think they would all have a sit down and go, you know what? We was absolutely shambolic.
You're going to be able to feel the tension on Tuesday for sure.
Yeah. And if, like Mike says there, if Zuma plays, then I think we win. Do you know what? Even if Zuma don't play, yeah, it's an hard one. Like for me, I wouldn't play Zuma on Tuesday. I really wouldn't. Because I think if you play him and he gets injured, he's out for the season. We are knackered. Maybe go to a three at the back with wing backs or something, just to change it up, just to get like a bit of cover in there or something. I don't know, but if you play Zuma and he goes again, then we might as well call the season a write off because Dawson and Diop are like, I mean, dumb and dumber. So for me, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. It's going to be similar to the Norwich game. I think we need to score early. I think if we score early, that invites Watford on, and basically we're it on the break. Do you know what I mean? But we have to score early. I think the longer the game's level, the worse it is for us because I think the crowd will get restless.
Emmanuel Dennis
Yeah.
didn't play against Burnley, so I would say I don't know if he's hurt or not, but if Emmanuel Dennis doesn't play against us on Tuesday, I'd probably also guess 2-0. I'm just scared of that guy. He's really good.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think he's suspended, mate. I think. Right, let's go here. We've got Atcher in the house. He says 2-0. Jay Wood says 1-0. It's going to be a tight one. Watford counter attack hard. David is new. I've never seen you before. Thanks for subscribing if you have, mate. We'll still win a cup, the FA Cup this year. West Ham 3-1. I think the FA Cup I think Southampton's a good draw.
I'll take that all day and twice
Yeah,
on Sunday.
yeah, I agree with you on that, mate. When the draw came out earlier with Jace, I turned around and said that's a good draw for West Ham. I wouldn't
And is
fancy
it
us going
home or
to.
you said was it home or away?
It's away, but
Oh, I'll
but
still
but
take
we but at the end of the day, though, we play better away from home, mate. We always have done.
it.
Like even, and the best thing about it is there's no excuses not to play a strong team now. No Yarmolenko, no Mazawaku. We have to play. Like you've put us in this situation with no signings. Now you've got to. You've made your bed. You've got to line it now.
One thing I
Yeah,
will be looking for, I will be interested to see how many
yeah.
youngsters are on the bench. I would
Mm.
like to see Okaflex and Perkins on the bench to be
I
available.
I feel though, yeah, on Tuesday night, if the game is poised and we need to change it up, I do not want to see Yarmolenko on this pitch.
That
Like,
that will turn toxic quick.
yeah, yeah, but you know what? The fan base have to make that aware that if they have to start screaming Oko Flex's name, right? Just get the geezer on. Like
Yeah,
this man has played for Celtic in the SPL. He
and
was an Arsenal
Arsenal.
trainee, right? He was an Arsenal trainee. He went to Celtic. Yeah, he scores goals in the under 23. I'm not saying he's the Messiah or he should be like he's done amazing things,
He deserves a chance.
but he deserves
Bare
a
minimum.
chance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He deserves 100% a chance, like every other West Ham player who wears a claret blue shirt. So we will find out, and that is a wrap from us. Lucas, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, mate. I really appreciate it. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's our first Have Your Say. We had no guests, but maybe next time we will do. Do you know what I mean?
Everyone's so shy.
I know everyone's so shy, mate. They are indeed. But do you know what? There's always next time.
I want
I want to thank him.
I want to see Scott on here next time.
Yeah, I
We
want
need
to
to
see
get
Venny in the ass, mate. I want to see Scotty Venny. He used to come on my shows and he disappears now. Do you know what I mean? He's cooking something for someone. Do you know what I mean? But I want to thank everyone in the chat also for participating tonight. Without you, this show would be me and Lucas just rambling on about West Ham. We've got some issues at the club, and I'm glad the fan base are talking about these issues. Sometimes things need to be said, and instead of just sitting there going, everything's wonderful, everything's great, and we're all loving life, yeah. Sometimes just people need to be pointed out that it's not as plain sailing.
It's tough love. Tough love.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Well, a bit of criticizing people isn't a bad thing. It makes them play better or a manager do better things. So it's what's needed at the club at the minute. It's a big 3 games coming up. Watford Tuesday, Leicester away on Sunday, and then the following week it's Newcastle at home. I expect at least 7 points out of them 3 games, if not 9.
Yeah.
Will we get them? We will find out. Anyway, that's enough from us. I will be back probably Tuesday night with an afterthought straight after the game. West Ham don't let me down against Watford, for crying out loud. And we will also be doing a player ratings, probably with the man to my right. So stay tuned and check it out. If you're new around here, please do subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. Please do like the video also. I'm getting my numbers up slowly but surely. And I'm getting some interesting people in the chat who've got some good opinions. And that's what I like
Turn
to
that
do.
bell on. Turn it on.
And as Lucas says, turn that bell on. Do you know what I mean? I always forget that, Lucas. Turn the bell notification on. Do you know what I mean? That's why you're here, Lucas. That's why you're here, son. Anyway, I'll let you go. Have a good week and all the best. Bye for now.